Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, and we are here to debrief Lights Out on Ligue 1, the last day of the season, and the last game for PSG against local rival of Paris FC, right across the street from Parc des Princes. A game that Luis Enrique qualified as the worst game that is manages PSG team, so the worst game in 3 years. Um, to be frank, I think that's pushing it a little, but I've got to say that first half was really a thing of nightmare. So let's talk about this game, and then I'll briefly bring you up to speed on all of the happenings of Ligue 1, because that last day of the season really lived up to the hype. A lot of great results, a lot of interesting games. So I'll take you through that briefly as well. On the PSG game, 2-1 for Paris FC. If I'm honest, that's not undeserved. Paris FC throughout the game had the bigger opportunities. They clearly dominated in the first half. They had the clearest chances. We managed to stay in the game with a few really good saves from Safonov, some really good work from our central defense as well. But honestly, the level of our midfield and of our attackers in the first half, yeah, I really understand the annoyance of Luis Enrique, because yeah, for him who likes combinations and movements and runs and so on. Wow, there was nothing at all. We end the first half with, I think, 0 0.1 or 0.2 xg. So we've produced absolutely nothing in that first half. On top of that, cherry on the cake, Ousmane Dembélé comes off on injury, and we'll be talking about him personally later on. So really, that first half was bad, 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 bad. Second half, you can clearly feel that Luis Enrique screamed on his player at halftime a little, because a few minutes into the second half, Barcola opens the score on a nice cross from Fabian Ruiz with 5 players projecting into the penalty area. A nice pass of Kvara to Fabian Ruiz to really create the difference, and put the Paris FC defense out of position. So that was quite positive. We're 1-0 up. It felt like, we settled down. Now the players are back in it, and we're ready to win the game. And I think for the first half of the second half, that's kind of what it was looking like. And then with the changes, for us, we put more and more of our substitute. Paris FC on their side, they had some starters on the bench, ready to command, or players really on the level of their starters. So Kerbal, for example, who's a great left-footed player, offensive player, came on and really made a difference. And yeah, they managed to get one back, tie the game, and equalize through Ali Manigori on the 75th minute. And from that point on, the game goes a little bit crazy. So the last 15-20 minutes, it's really a lot of back and forth. Both teams trying to push to score the winning goal. Both teams having a few opportunities. I think throughout this time, if I'm honest, PSG is probably a little bit more not necessarily dangerous, but a little bit more attacking. But Paris FC gets some great opportunities on the counter. And on the 90th plus 4th minute, so really dying moments of the game, exactly what happens. Paris FC gets a breakaway at the back of a corner kick. They run through the pitch. I think it's Kerbal actually who's making the run, manages to cross to Ali Manigori, who's basically on his own, unopposed, and Safonov having already gone on to cover the other side of his goal. He basically only has to have a tap-in an empty goal. So 2-1 for Paris FC at the last second. Like I said, not undeserved. I think the second half has more in it than the first half for sure. I think in terms of individual performances, there's a few which are really bad, but some which are okay, okay to reassuring. So I actually I'll go through that because I think in this game the individual performances are really what's more interesting, and I think there's a few players and a few things tried which were a little bit different. So in defense, for example, or Titi Lucea, who played 15 minutes against Lens, got the start, played the whole first half on the left side of defense. For him, who's normally a central defender, he had a tough matchup as well against Ikone, who's a really technical right winger out of the PSG academy actually, who's got a few years in Ligue 1, and who really put the screw on Lucea, who had some trouble at the beginning and then progressively got back into it. Never never really like shown that brightly in this game, but I think ultimately like managed to get himself more or less to the level. Didn't bring me a lot of confidence, and ultimately he comes off at halftime, which I think is kind of fair. And then we had like a very, very experimental defense slash midfield. So we had in defense, we had Marquinhos, who played the left side of central defense, something that I don't think he's done in like basically like 8 years or so. It's extremely, extremely unusual for Marquinhos to be on the left side of defense. Zabarnyi on the right side, which is weird because Zabarnyi had played that other side a few times with Marquinhos. Warren Zabarnyi back on the right side of defense, back from injury, and generally like covering quite well. And then Beraldo. So Beraldo was pushed as what usually is the position of Joao Neves. So a number 8 on the right side of our midfield, which was, yeah, I don't know, like strange. I mean, I can understand Beraldo playing as a number 6, but I think as a number 8, that's really pushing it in terms of his technical qualities. And I think on this game, yeah, it's not a good game for him, honestly. He moved back to left back after halftime when Lucea comes out and has a better time there. But I think as a number 8, yeah, that was not that great, and it's kind of it helps explain in a way why we had so much difficulty connecting to our attack and why like our midfield was like pretty like well dominated in the first half, if I'm honest. Not only him, but yeah, like I think Beraldo is yeah, his performance is not that great there. And then up front, I want to say it, Kvara first. There was Ligue and Kvara in everything that is got worse, especially in the first half. Really like looks uninterested, doesn't run as much, doesn't create as much. Some missed touches as well, first touches going back to Paris FC. So a lot of things to complain about. He's got that flash of lightning, flash of brilliance in is finding the pass to Fabian Ruiz on the Barcola goal, which is beautiful and puts like 2 Paris FC defender out of it just on the pass. So that was pretty great, but outside of that, that was not good Kvara at all. And then Dembélé. So Dembélé comes off injured on the 27th minute. So he plays very little. I think I was paying very, very close attention. I was looking at him on my rewatch of the game. On the 23rd minute, I think is where he's feeling something. And I think even before that, it was not like it was a pretty horrible game for Dembélé. And I think what's really troubling to me, I'll be honest, and let me know what you think in the comment, is that it really felt like he didn't have the right attitude. And I think a player who shows this sort of attitude, if it had been Barcola or it had been Doué, the fan base would be screaming bloody murder at them. And I think Dembélé is kind of moving around, but walking and not running, not really like creating much, not really doing much of anything. He just looks like he's there, but not really interested in the game. He's a fantastic player. I love him to death. He's our leader and the Ballon d'Or, and it's entirely well deserved. But a game like yesterday, I'm sorry, like you've got to be professional. I don't care if we're already champion. I don't care if we've got a bigger fish to fry in 2 weeks. I don't care if you don't want to enjoy yourself or whatever. There's a minimum, and like the standard was just not there from Dembélé in my mind. So let me know what you thought of this, because like I'm pretty sure, and that's the only caveat that I would put, is that I'm pretty sure he's feeling something physically on the 23rd minute and not earlier, and so that wouldn't explain why he's doing so little in terms of work. But yeah, like it's really not enough, really not enough. On the other side, Barcola didn't have like his strongest performance ever for sure, and I think like you get to a point where it's difficult to perform where very few players in your team are performing, but he scores. And it's his first goal since his injury. It's something. He buries it very cleanly as well. I really like the finishing. It doesn't really celebrate, so it kind of tugged on my heartstring a little bit. Like, I hope he's not feeling a bit disconnected from the team or feeling a little bit disgruntled by his past performances, because like the finishing is exactly what we would want from him. You know, like a relatively easy tap in, but at the same time, Trapp is moving very fast to cover. He puts it mid-distance next to the post, calmly with the inside of the foot. That's what we want to see. It doesn't need to be more difficult than this. There's some power to it as well, so Trap really doesn't have time to come back. And it's clean and it's efficient and it's collected and it's what we want. And you know, he should be celebrating a goal like this. Because it's a nice one for him, and it's really like the expectations that we have for him if, offensively. So that's the positive for Barcola. Another positive, Fabian Ruiz played the full game, so he's continuing to ramp up physically. The end of the game was a little bit iffy, so I think physically he's still not completely there, but definitely showing some progress. Vitinha has a so-so game, not that great, missing a few things. It felt like he was taking it easy and sometimes like trying things that were just a little bit too complicated. So I'll give him a pass on this one, but yeah, like stuff like this is not gonna fly in the next game, obviously. And then defensively speaking, I thought like Marquinhos and Zabarnyi actually like did not have a bad game. Even if we get 2 goals scored on us, I think given how often they are let down by their midfield and their attackers, in really like other players contributing defensively, and how often they're let down by Lucea on the left in the first half, and then by Mayulu on the right when he takes the Zaire spot. Yeah, I mean like. In the end, they did what they could. Marquinhos had a couple of long balls, which are really nice to see, and I think like the quality of passing of Marquinhos, I think sometimes we don't talk enough about it. Zabarnyi is in line with his past performances, quite solid, not super flashy, but quite solid. Safonov, he has a couple of really big saves, so also in line with his past performances. The 2 goals, he can't really do anything. So yeah, it is what it is. Ultimately, like, it felt like the game could have gone either way, because right before Paris FC second goal, there's a corner kick on which we could have had a penalty in our favor, because one of the Paris FC defender, kind of on the corner, the ball goes back on his arm, which is a little bit outside of the body. So it's not the clearest penalty in the world, but I think there's a word in which it could have been called. It's not here. On the counter, it goes back to our goals. They score the second one. Yeah, I think like it could have gone either way. It's the last game of the season. We've got bigger fish to fry. It's not great, but I'm gonna try to be positive and say like at least this gives a beautiful reason for Luis Enrique to really like put the pressure back on the players, and really remind them that this sort of performance is not acceptable, and ramp up the pressure for the Champions League final. And also, and that's just me, I do wonder if they didn't start doing some hardcore physical work, and that's why we might have been paying it a little bit. Because I see Dembélé in the first half, I see Kvara in the first half, I see how long it takes us to get us in the game. That kind of screams a team that's putting in a lot of work in training, and is not yet like at the physical peak that they're trying to get from it. So I don't know, like that's one of the impressions that I've got. I don't know if that's the case or not. Like there's definitely mental complacency as well mixed in. But yeah, it is what it is, and obviously like, I mean, I'm annoyed. I wanted the win, especially against Paris FC, who beat us in the Coupe de France. I wanted to set the record straight, and we don't, and we lose, and it's 6 losses in a Ligue 1 season, which is a lot for us. The last 2 years, we only had 2 losses in each season. So, not great, but at the same time, like, ultimately, like, the season will go from great to historic depending on the result on the 30th, and that's just the way it is. This game doesn't really change that much, and hopefully it's a little bit of a wake-up call to the players that even at this level they cannot afford to take it easy, and they need to give a lot more if they want to have a chance in the final. So this is it. In terms of Ligue 1, a few like really fun results. So first, starting with our runner-up, Lens went to Lyon and won 4-0 in Lyon, which is incredible results. Lyon was obviously trying to get the win to try to get the third place of Ligue 1 back from Lille. Lille, who also lost at the same time against Auxerre, relegation candidate Auxerre, who beat Lille 2-0. So crazy results for Auxerre, which I'm really glad about, because this Auxerre team, like, they fought through all season with a lot of heart, obviously with limits in terms of the quality of their squad and the quality of their player, but they really give it their all. They are safe, they won't be relegated, they'll stay in Ligue 1, and honestly, it's nice because you compare with Nice, who's ultimately like getting this spot of playoff versus the team coming up from League 2, which is going to be Saint-Etienne. Nice, I'm sorry, they end the season on a draw against Metz, who were already relegated, and like when you're trying to save your spot in Ligue 1, it's not acceptable. And Nice all season, it's not been acceptable. It's been a mess in terms of game. It's been horrible to watch. The fans have gone off the deep end a few times with violence, with clashes, with racism, you name it. The owner Ineos is nowhere to be seen and not managing properly. So it's a club that's falling apart. And at the end of days, I don't care if you've got better players on paper. I don't care if you've got more money and if you've got like a shinier stadium and so on. Auxerre put in the work. It's simple as that. They put in the work and they deserve to stay up, while Nice will have to fight for their spot. And it's entirely deserved. And honestly, at this point, I hope Nice goes down. I'll say it, because they've been ridiculous, and they deserve the slap in the face. So that's what it is. In other game, Marseille kind of sealed the deal on a Europa League qualification by beating Rennes at home 3-1. Marseille was up 2-0 after 10 minutes, and it's a game where like both teams had like 20-25 shots each. So it really went back and forth. It was a little bit of a madhouse. Esteban Le Paul sealed the deal on finishing top scorer for Ligue 1. So a bit of a crazy game. Marseille coming back from nowhere, managing to get a win to qualify for Europe, even if it's not the Champions League. So that's something for them, and getting one past Rennes as well, which is always interesting. Monaco and Strasbourg had a crazy game in which Monaco in Strasbourg was up 4-1 after like 55-60 minutes, and Strasbourg managed to come all the way back and win it 5-4. So a crazy fight back from Strasbourg. Both of the team are finishing borderline Conference League or outside of European qualification. It will kind of depend on result of the French Cup final and result of the Champions League final. But yeah, just outside, it's a bit bad because both teams have really a lot of quality, and that was a pretty enjoyable game to finish up the season. And then Nantes' last game in Ligue 1 since they got relegated officially. Went to mayhem against Toulouse, with fights, with problems in the stands and so on. The game didn't really have a chance to get finished. It's probably going to be lost on administration 3-0, and it's a sad end for Nantes in Ligue 1, whose Nantes is a historic club in Ligue 1, with really like a unique identity, a style of playing, a history, and it's really a bit sad to see those kind of clubs go down. In this case, it's been years and years and years of being poorly managed, so it's also been a long time coming, but yeah, it is what it is. It's a little bit sad. So anyway, curtain on this Ligue 1 season. This was the last day. This is where we end. So just to run through very quickly, in terms of where that leaves us, we have PSG champion, Lens second, and Lille, so all three going into the Champions League. Lyon will need to fight the playoff round to get into the Champions League proper. Marseille right now qualified for Europa League. Rennes for Conference League, with potentially one more spot going towards Monaco, who's 7th. Then Strasbourg, Lorient, Toulouse, Paris FC finishing 11th for their first season in Ligue 1. Brest 12, Angers, Le Havre, who's also, a club with very little in the way of finance and talent, but working really well. 14th, Auxerre 15th, Nice 16th, will have to fight a playoff against Saint-Etienne. Winner will get to be in Ligue 1. And then Nantes 17 and Metz 18 relegated to League 2, and so off from the top tier of French football. A big season. Ultimately, we get the title. I think it was a pretty interesting one, pretty entertaining in lots of ways. A lot of drama, a lot of back and forth. So yeah, like I'm not going to say French football at its best because sometimes Ligue 1 lacks a bit of quality in places. Even for me, I'll be the first to say it. But honestly, yeah, it felt like a pretty entertaining and well worth watching kind of season. So, anyways, this is what I had for you guys on this Paris FC, Paris Saint-Germain debrief. 6 defeat in Ligue 1 for PSG. That now will turn its attention to the final of the Champions League, and so will we. And so, you know, stay tuned, drop a like on this video if you made it this far, and definitely subscribe to the channel. Subscribe for upcoming information on the Champions League final and how it's shaping up to come from a PSG standpoint. All of the transfer information of the summer as well. Cup final will be following and keeping an eye on Lens versus Nice next weekend. And definitely, you know, World Cup is right around the corner as well. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified of future videos, and don't forget, at the end of Ligue 1 and at the close of it, ici c'est Paris!